Hello and welcome to Community Storytelling. We are doing something a little different today. In fact, maybe this is the first for KCAT TV15. I think it might be. We're actually going to do a Skype interview, and we're going to go to Houston. And we have with us Maddie Burak, and Maddie's Aunt Melissa nominated her because she is doing magnificent things for all of those poor folks from Hurricane Harvey. Maddie, hi, how are you, sweetheart?
I'm great. How are you?
Well, I'm doing good. I'm doing a lot better than you are, except that you are doing something so wonderful. So you're in Houston. How old are you? Can I ask how old you are?
Of course you can. I'm 24.
So 24, and you live in Houston, and where do you work?
I work for a political lobbying organization.
All right, and you were, I assume, hit by the hurricane yourself. I see you're doing fine. How is your home?
You know, I got really lucky. I live in an apartment, so my home had power and plumbing and everything through the whole storm, but the neighborhood that I'm standing in currently, unfortunately, got hit very, very severely. In fact, I was just talking to a couple friends of mine who live down the street, and their home took in about 4 feet of water.
Oh.
And as a result of that, they have removed just about 5 feet or so of sheetrock. Every single thing in their house has had to be thrown out. And that's the case here for a lot of folks on this street that I'm standing on, which is in the Meyerland area. And Meyerland and Bel Air, unfortunately, are 2 neighborhoods in Houston that got hit particularly hard just because of their proximity to the bayou, which, as we all know, overflowed significantly and was a large part of the reason why we flooded here.
Yes, we all know about the bayous now in Houston. We really do. So I know while you're talking to us, you're going to be able to show us the neighborhood. And I want you to do that. Do it slowly so we can kind of take it in ourselves. But I am amazed, Maddie. You're 24 years old. You work full time, and you're trying to make a living. And here you are in your time, your spare time, helping people. Was this something you had in you your entire life? Were you raised like this?
I do come from a very service-oriented family, I would say. My parents both work for the state of Nevada, where I'm from, in different ways. And I've always believed in volunteering. I've tried to do that my whole life. But what I can say, is just whenever this happened, I felt so lucky in that my home and my car were okay, and, my neighbors were okay. But, all these people who are here are not doing okay, and they really needed help. And I think I felt compelled to do something, anything that I could, in the immediate time that we were facing. And my contribution really was just a small one compared to, what the city is going to need. I mean, they're estimating millions and millions of dollars and lots of time to really fix the city. But no, I felt compelled to get out and do something. It just drives you crazy when you're sitting at home and watching the news and seeing what's happening in your own city. And I felt like volunteering was really the best way that I could help. It's like I get really frustrated whenever people complain about politics, and then especially when they didn't vote. And I'm like, well, you didn't vote, so you really have no room to complain.
Let me tell you, Maddie, you're not doing any small thing, because you are, for many of these people in your neighborhood, you're probably the first person they got to see and got to realize themselves that they're okay. They're talking to you. You're helping them. So this is no small feat that you're doing. This is immeasurable. It really is. And tell us what you are doing. Tell us, what are you doing for these folks?
Sure. So my first few days, really what it took is for the homes that took on water, and this is all new to me. Being from Nevada, I never had been in a flood before, but what it took is when you get to the homes, depending on how much water they took in, they all needed to have their sheetrock removed. So literally it's getting your hands dirty, and you go in with sledgehammers and whatever you got, and you literally are ripping out feet and feet of sheetrock. You're tearing out carpet. You're removing furniture. You're ripping out cabinets. You're doing everything you possibly can just to get stuff out. And then really what you got to do is expose the studs of the house so they can start drying. If you want to save the home, you have to save the studs, especially to prevent mold from growing. And again, I didn't know any of this a week ago, but just in my short time of helping out here, you really learn a lot about how to build a home. But you have to get in there. And after I did some of the demolition stuff, there's several organizations and places in town here that are helping folks by giving out supplies like bleach and food and mops and trash bags, anything you could think of to help them with their clean out process. So I spent some time here at the Jewish Community Center, the JCC, handing out supplies to people who were in line. And I mean, they would be lined up by 8 in the morning, just waiting to get in the doors to get anything that we could give them. And I think that, honestly, demolition was one thing, but I think being at the JCC there was probably the hardest, because you're really interfacing with the people. And I know one morning I was on the bleach table, as funny as that sounds, I was handing out containers of bleach to people. And while I was standing there, a woman comes up to me and I said, "Hi, ma'am, can I please give you a container of bleach?" And she immediately, I handed her the bleach and she started sobbing. She gave me a hug and started crying. And it's because, these people go from having, lovely homes and cars and all of their belongings to literally having nothing. And it was in a matter of hours. So it's just, it's really emotional for some folks. And it's hard to really comprehend just how significant the loss has been. Like when you drive down the street, I think that's kind of the most frustrating thing, is it's hard for people to get over everything that happened, because debris collection on this street in particular is not yet started. So I'm standing amongst mountains and mountains of trash right now, and it's a constant reminder to folks of what happened.
And I'm guessing that it's as wonderful as it is for the folks who are getting your help, this is changing your life as well.
It's teaching me a lot about the strength and the power of your community. I think about a lot, where I'm from and how I've seen the community come together before in times of need and crisis. But I mean, this community, Houston in particular, is so strong and is so there for each other. I mean, we've seen so many, you've seen it on the news, but I mean, I've witnessed so many just really heroic and amazing things happen in the last couple weeks. It's just been so inspiring to see. I mean, myself included, not that I'm a hero, but, I was showing up at strangers' homes with a sledgehammer and my backpack ready to go and helping them with demolition. And this is someone who, I would have never otherwise met, and probably someone who I won't ever see again, to be honest. But, I had to do what I could in that moment to help them. And you're seeing that all throughout the city, though. I mean, you saw citizens getting in their personal boats to go in and rescue families and animals. And, people were handing out food. I mean, one thing I can say is, in the neighborhoods where I was volunteering, every 5-10 minutes, there was a truck of a personal truck going by, handing out food, handing out water, handing out protein bars, what have you, to make sure that the volunteers were doing okay. So it's just been really incredible to see the community come together, and it's teaching me a lot about giving back in a whole new way that I couldn't have thought of.
How long do you think you're going to continue volunteering like this, Maddie?
I've told my family, I was exhausted after the first week of volunteering, and I think this is a marathon, not a sprint. I mean, we've got at least months, if not years, ahead of us of rebuilding. Yes. I think I will keep doing what I can for as long as I'm needed and as long as I can be helpful. It's going to take the entire community to come together to help us get to where we were. I mean, the area that I'm in, they're estimating it's going to take around $30 million to rebuild some of the institutions that are around here and get them back and going again. It's just, it's devastating. So I will do whatever I can for as long as I can. And I can say, after doing it for like 5 days in a row, I was so sore and so tired. But it's like, you think about it, I have the luxury of getting to go home at the end of the day to my bed, which has not been flooded, and to my power that is still working. And, I have the luxuries of a home. These people, this is their reality. They don't get to have the luxury that I do of waking up in the morning in their bed somewhere familiar. A lot of them are sleeping at friends' houses and families' houses. They've had to get short-term leases and apartments. They've had to just vacate completely, and then they drive back every day to their home that just recently flooded. I mean, it's hard to really describe.
So, Maddie, could you show us some of the neighborhood again? It was just so amazing to see what kind of damage there was and how much has been done.
Sure.
With help from people like you.
Are you seeing all this?
We are seeing it. It's devastating and it's heartbreaking. But I can also see how much has been done.
Yeah, it's impressive. I mean, in this first week here when it was happening, can you still hear me?
Oh, yes, Maddie.
people, were coming out. Just anyone was coming out from all across the community to help folks out, because it took so many bodies to just get this done. And, I'm learning that with mold especially, you only have so much time before it really soaks in and grows. So you have to act very quickly. So really, as soon as the water started to recede, people had to get into homes and start, just ripping stuff out. And you can see here, you've got like carpet padding and furniture and cabinets and stacks of sheetrock. I hope you can still see all this.
Oh yes, it is just incredible. And I'm just looking at the street itself, which was a paved street. Looks like a dirt road.
Yeah, the streets got pretty torn up. What I'm seeing here too is something that I'd never seen before, is homes in this neighborhood in particular that are very close to the bayou. They have to build up about 6 feet, to account for if there is another flood, to make sure that their home doesn't take on water again. So like the home we're about to pass here is under construction, and it's one that's being built up. So that way they won't flood in the next flood. God forbid there's another one, but they won't take on water hopefully in the next time. And
it looks like was such a beautiful neighborhood.
Yeah.
And look at all that grass.
Yeah, it's a really gorgeous area, and that's why so many people love living here. And it's sad because this neighborhood unfortunately has flooded, I think, 3 times before. So these people have been through a lot, but they start the rebuilding process. That's just how it's going. I hope you're still seeing all this.
Oh yes, I think we're all watching it with our mouths open. It's just amazing, to see this is a few weeks after the hurricane. And how much has been done, but how much damage there really is. Where did you go to college?
I went to the University of Nevada, Reno. I'm a proud Nevada Wolfpack member.
Because you are just so eloquent and so well-spoken. And what's coming out of your mouth is just amazing. I can imagine you're a fabulous political lobbyist.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And if I can correct one thing you did say, though, if you don't mind.
Sure.
You are a hero.
Oh, gosh, thank you.
You are a hero, Maddie. Maddie Burak, this is just amazing, and I'm so glad you could share it with us. And it also shows us how much we still need to do to help our friends and neighbors and relatives and loved ones in Houston.
Absolutely. There's still going to be a huge need. I know that, unfortunately, there's a lot of other storms going on in Florida and other parts of the country, but Houston really needs a lot of help, and I know that there's lots of organizations that are taking donations, be it the Red Cross, SPCA, Houston Federation. Lots of them are accepting donations, and they're really, really needed. They need volunteers. They need all kinds of help. So if there's anything that people can do, even in your area, it's really appreciated, and know that it's going to be well spent and very, just again, very appreciated. So.
I think you might have a second calling, disaster relief. If you ever want to switch careers, I think FEMA or the Red Cross could really use you.
Oh, you are too kind. Thank you.
Well, you are a delight, Maddie Burak, and thank you so much for Skyping with us. Thank you for what you've been doing in your neighborhood in Houston and helping so many folks. You are a hero.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, that's it for community storytelling. Thank you for being with us. An amazing story we just got from Maddie Burak in Houston, Texas. Thanks for being with us at KCAT TV 15. I'm Lissa Kreisler.